Alright, so for those of you just tuning in, I'm about to spectate another free-for-all between my viewers, which is of course part of my weekly Twitch TV live streams. If you're interested in being a part of this, you can head on over to my Twitch page, and if you scroll underneath the player there, you can find the live streaming schedule. I update that about every day, so if you keep your eyes peeled on the schedule on my Twitch page, then that way you'll never have to miss a stream. So, people seem to really like the free-for-all diplomacy game, so I'm happy to do more of these or spectate just different types of games. As always, your ideas and feedback are appreciated. I'm sure there are plenty of ways that we can improve the settings and format for this, and I've been tinkering with it over time. I noticed that last time when I did Regicide, the whole Regicide aspect almost basically never came into play. And then with King of the Hill, it's very difficult to actually close out a game if I made it, truly free-for-all and I didn't allow allied victory, meaning that, the last two players in the game have to fight till there's no one left. King of the Hill would go on forever, so I'm experimenting a little bit. I was thinking this time, based off your guys' suggestions, was standard victory, so this means that players are allowed to build a wonder, and also I'm going to make the map size a little bit smaller to hopefully encourage people to fight. Remember, it's standard victory, and no allied victory. Right, so this means that players will have to fight down to the last man. This could be a long one, but I'm very, very excited for this. Also, preferably, pause stream to reduce ping. Good luck, have fun. This will be a good one. I assume that this match will go on for a while. I'm trying to shorten the match length, though, of these free-for-alls a little bit, and hopefully the smaller map size helps that. I did not Tim K. That's awful. I'm sorry to hear that. Alright, we're loading in. Looks like every player connected. This is fantastic. So, throughout this game, I'm going to be switching my perspective between all the players, talking a lot about strategy and unit choices, and just overall explaining the basics of the game. If you guys have any questions about Age of Empires 2, or myself, or life in general, I'd be happy to answer them while I play. If I miss any of your messages, feel free to type them again in a few minutes. It looks like, in terms of civilizations, I'm going to go down the list here. So we have Rancor, the Red Mayans player. I'm going to be referring to every player by their color, by the way. Have fun at Star Wars Lamborghini. Good to see you, and welcome to Stream Venom. So, alright, Rancor, Red Mayans. Then Flatch will be playing as the Green Magyars. We have I Am a Unicorn playing as the Yellow Aztecs. Trivial Error will be playing as the Teal Franks. Zipline 20 will be playing as the Purple Franks. Giant Apple playing as the Gray Magyars on Team Fresh Princess. And then we have the Dark Wolf Rises playing as the Orange Spanish. This will be a particularly crazy game, I can imagine, mostly because we're doing Sherwood Forest. Now this is a really weird map, and it comes with the game. So whether you have the CD version or HD, you have all these Ensemble Studios old custom maps. And on Sherwood Forest, you can tell that the trees are very, very spread out. So this is also a super open map, which should hopefully also make sure that the game doesn't take forever. And players start with 2 hero units. So you have Robin Hood, which is like a souped-up longbowman style crossbowman type unit. And then we have Friar Tuck over here, which is a super tanky monk. I believe that I'm not sure if he has necessarily longer range. I think he does. But either way, he has armor and a lot of extra HP. And since every player happens to start with 2 heroes, that means you can do some crazy early game hero rushes, which you can't really do on any other map. Yeah, Friar Tuck. Friar Tuck also has ridiculously good eyesight, as we can see here. This guy could see for years into the future. Very, very long range on him. One interesting thing to note, I believe there's a bug in HD right now, and I'm not sure if it's like this in the CD version, but I believe that if Friar Tuck picks up a relic, he actually becomes a real boy. He transforms into a normal monk. He just turns into a monk with relic because Aoe2 is coded in a really bizarre way so that when a monk picks up a relic, he doesn't pick up the relic per se, he becomes a different unit. He becomes a monk with relic unit, and I guess Friar Tuck becomes a monk with relic unit, and then when he drops the relic, he becomes just a normal monk. Okay, 9 range is normal. I'm thinking of missionaries. The low Ryan packs. So yeah, he becomes a real boy. If he picks up a relic and drops it, he just actually forgets that he's important. He forgets everything but fine dining and breathing, and he just becomes monk. Pretty tragic. Looks like Flatch walking around here with his own Friar Tuck. This man has no fear. Check out the scouting on Flatch. Really inflating his score. He's at the top of the standings right now with a whopping 473. This man can micro. But if Friar Tuck dies... One interesting thing to note is that, if he walks too close, Robin Hood, heroes can't be converted. So if you keep your Robin Hood next to your Friar Tuck, then you're in pretty good shape as a way to protect him. While scouts are definitely good against monks, as they do resist conversion. They have an attack bonus versus them. Friar Tuck is tanky enough that he can actually live this scout if this scout decides to engage, and it looks like Flatch wants another scout. More visibility. He's going to be snagging an extra scout here. Will Zipline be able to have a scout escape in time? The answer is no. Now Flatch has to run him away. Zipline bringing in Robin Hood to engage, but it looks like Flatch's Friar Tuck will be able to escape, and Flatch is going to get housed because he converts. Because he converted a Zipline scout, Flatch is going to get housed here, so that's why I like Sherwood Heroes, and I think this is an interesting idea. I'm open to people's map suggestions as well, because you get very, very bizarre situations like this where, you know, Flatch gets housed because he ended up converting his opponent's scout 5 minutes into Friar Tuck, and it looks like Robin Hood is pissed. Flatch has drawn aggro, generating way too much threat. Can Friar Tuck escape in time? This man is so slow. But Friar Tuck trying to juke through the trees, and this is Aoe2 HD, so look at Robin Hood forgetting how to walk, getting stuck on everything, tripping over the leaves. What the hell is this? What kind of unit pathing is this? Why does Robin Hood keep stopping? I cannot believe that Friar Tuck is actually outrunning this guy. And Zipline gives up. Flatch getting away with murder. Belty Cat says, does Robin Hood benefit from Blacksmith and other upgrades? Yes. Dark Paladin says, since the Ethiopians don't have bloodlines, do you think it's incredibly difficult to diversify your military? Is it okay to build cavalry archers for Ethiopians? I would not build cavalry archers without bloodlines for the most part. I think the Ethiopians do have a reasonably good unit distribution, I guess. Like, you can still... Yeah, they have a pretty good infantry line. You can make, like, halberdiers. They have a mostly full archer range, I believe. Some good siege. I am a unicorn, going to be slaying that wolf. And yeah, Flatch right now is having the game of his life. Poor Zipline. His score is very low. He's not been able to recover from his lack of a scout. Poor guy. Zipline, of course, quite new to Age of Empires 2, so he's the underdog this game, but I have faith in the underdog. I have faith. Flatch might have stolen his scout, but you don't need the scout cavalry to win the game. I still cannot believe that Friar Tuck actually escaped there. What a nimble old man. Just goes to show, if you stay in good shape, doesn't matter how old you are. And Flatch, you know, he's thirsty. He's out for blood. Robin Hood is all the way in the middle of nowhere. Alright, so I'm going to do my best to keep track of the teams, as they're going to be shifting a lot. But, you know, keep in mind if I did something like friend or foe colors to make it so each team is like, you know, a solid color, that's not going to help, because players don't even necessarily need to be allied with each other. Alliances are going to get really, really complicated, and I'll be switching player perspectives. And holy shit, I think Rancor actually lost his Robin Hood. Rancor going for the patented Robin Hood rush that we see dominating the competitive Age of Empires 2 metagame for the last 15 years. Ah, man. Ever since the Viper patented the Robin Hood rush, it's just been such a degenerate strategy. Ladiax says, you know, Friar Tuck runs the London Marathon every year. I did not know that. But yeah, it looks like the Robin Hood rush is going to fail, and it turns out the only way to counter Robin Hood rush is actually with a defensive Robin Hood play here from Trivial Error. And by defensive Robin Hood play, I mean literally just leaving him on the default defensive stance near your mill. Without Robin Hood, that's going to actually really reduce the amount of early pressure that Rancor can put on. But he's not a man to give up. He still has his own Friar Tuck here for religious moral support, and Rancor is putting down a barracks. He's here to avenge Friar Tuck. And I'm sure we've all seen this at some point when we played AoE, but isn't this a tragedy? Take a look at this. Bus Barbie says, do you think that you will make more videos from the Tyrant games? I'd love to, yeah, keep suggesting them. If there's enough demand for more expert commentaries, I'd be happy to do those. I've done a lot already, and you can find all those playlists on YouTube. And I will upload this video to YouTube at some point. Soon, of course. This one might be a long one. I might split it into multiple parts. We'll have to see. But if you need multiple parts, then you can just find them all in the video description below. Oh, this sucks. Oh, this poor hunter. She'll figure it out someday. She'll figure it out someday. And it looks like there's a little bit more combat. Will Friar Tuck get away this time? Flatch coming in here with his scout. But the scout only going to do 3 damage to Robin Hood. And wow, Flatch actually manages to get Robin Hood to retreat. So I should be referring to players as a color, so I'll have to remember that. Either way, Green moving in here with 2 scouts. So he's using 2 scouts to push back the orange Robin Hood. And as a result, Green, once again, going to escape with Friar Tuck. And he's slowly going to heal himself up over time. The wonders of free medical care. Look at all this disgusting amounts of map control. Wait, does he have like 3 scouts? Are you kidding me? He has 3 scouts, but Zipline wants his scout back. He doesn't even care if it's the same scout. But it looks like purple actually cancels the conversion or something like that. But either way, Flatch is going to escape. And if I'm not mistaken, he has 3 scouts. So green has actually managed to steal 2. I believe he stole orange's scout. But orange going to station his heroes defensively here. Now I might miss some of your messages, but again, feel free to type in a few minutes. La Cravate, hello, welcome to the stream. Gladiac says, let's hope we see some legendary Moonwalk Friar Tuck. I hope so too. Severe Black says, hey Rez, I'm trying to cast your channel on a Chromecast with a Twitch app. Strange when I do that, it works for 2 seconds and Chromecast resets itself. That's really weird. I tried to cast MBL's channel and it's working just fine. Do you have any issue? Have you had this issue before? No, I haven't, and I have no idea how to fix that. Hopefully someone else does. If anyone knows why my stream might have any issues with Chromecast, I'd be happy to tinker with that. Dark Paladin says, if I have a friend that's new to Age of Empires 2 and want to play some easy and want to show them some easy to play civilizations, do you think the Chinese or Huns are easy to play for a newbie? I would not say the Chinese, no, because the Chinese have a different start than most civs do, not starting with any food and having additional villagers. So I would say the Huns are a reasonable one, but you know they can teach you some bad habits, I guess, since they're easy to play for a new player, hard to master, but easy to play. But you know you're gonna have to get used to building houses in general, so. Yeah, you can show them the Huns. I think the Britons are pretty straightforward as well. Yeah, you know, it's something that you can get away with until you start playing against good players, is just making a lot of archers, for example. And then once players learn the arts of you know, putting some rams in front of their like onagers and whatnot to try and soak up the arrow fire, and they start making their own onagers, then yeah, that's gonna work a lot less. Once you start seeing things like Huskarls. Yeah, obviously like playing Goths, if they don't die early on, spamming Huskarls can work out pretty well. Franks, Mass Paladins, Knights, etc. That's gonna work. Well, Green coming in here with one hell of a rush, and he's also bringing his own Robin Hood forward. So we already have a pretty sizable battle early on. And what's great is that, you know, Green is going with this battle from the Dark Age, actually. Going for a Dark Age scout rush. You don't see this every day. It's going to boil down to some good micro here, as Green going to forward with the barracks. And these Robin Hoods are going to be trading shots, but it looks like Green has the edge over Yellow here. Oh my god, pull your Robin Hood back, my friend. Friar Tuck here with the clutch heal manages to make Robin Hood actually live one more shot here, but the Yellow Robin Hood is going to go down. And now, Green, oh my god, on a rampage with both of his heroes. And Robin Hood gonna get away. Friar Tuck healing up Robin Hood with the base HP regeneration plus the healing from Friar Tuck. Green's rush is going to be devastating. Yellow is in deep trouble right now. Ah, yes, but Yellow still has his own Friar Tuck, but heroes cannot convert each other. Looks like Green manages to jack a hunter, and he's going to retreat back his own Lumberjack. The stable at a low 4% will not go up. Will Yellow lose his own Friar Tuck to this Robin Hood? His aim is impeccable. Oh, right in the knee. And Friar Tuck is down for a count. I am Unicorn, our Yellow player, is asking for mercy. And the Yellow Aztecs must pull off everything. This Friar Tuck rush is on a rampage. Meanwhile, across the map, we have Orange, yeah, sitting here playing some farming simulator. Red, with a nice wall of houses at the back over here. Red, not yet ready to get revenge on Teal. Teal also building up a solid economy. There's a ridiculous amount of villagers on gold, and I would like to know what for. Purple here, surrounding himself with a nice wall of houses. What a beautiful neighborhood he lives in. And it looks like Green is getting ready to finish this game. Take Yellow out of the game. But Yellow is our only player in the Castle Age. So if we swap to his perspective, he doesn't actually have that much gold. So this is not going to be like a fast Castle Age into Eagle Warriors or something, but he does have a lot of wooden food. So I'm really curious to see what Yellow's game plan is here. There's no way that Green gets to the Castle Age okay, well, Green is actually, he'll be able to research Castle Age soon. There's a window of opportunity here for Yellow. He's a sizable tech lead. Will he be just going for town centers, or is he going to counter with some form of military? Yellow actually has a very small amount of villagers, but the good news is for him is he has a little bit of a pond back here with some fishing ships. And I would never really build more than 4 fishing ships when it comes to just harvesting for shorefish, so I think that 3 here is a good number. And really, having a couple tiles of shorefish, actually, I would say, like, I don't know, if you got 4, I would definitely build a dock and build a couple of fishing ships, but I think you could even build one with only 3. So yeah, that's going to give him a pretty sizable boost to his economy. This is actually a very good lake to dock in. Lacravet says, can you resume the game? Can you resume me the game for now when you'll have the time? What do you mean? Do you mean, yeah, what do you mean? Oh, here's Wolf. Ah, yes. Green with so many scouts. Did you mean, like, give you a summary? Hello, Maddie. Good to see you. And hello, Robo, as well. Good to see you as well, Golgoy. So Green advancing on Yellow, but Yellow still a little bit of a score lead. With 3 town centers, Yellow will be able to, you know, pull ahead substantially in that economy. Oh my god, the greed is real from Yellow. Yellow with 4 town centers will allow him to make so many villagers, and it's all easier in hindsight. I think we've all done this before, where we've docked in a pond and you see a much better pond. after you've already built your dock. It so turns out that fishing ships actually gather food at a different rate from different types of fish. So they actually gather food substantially faster from the fish salmon, the middle sea and deep sea fish. Basically, just not shore fish. They harvest food from shore fish substantially slower. Summarize. Okay. Okay. So this is a free-for-all diplomacy game. So the teams are not locked. Players can switch teams at will. They can ally with whoever they want, but there's no allied victory, which means this game's going to go on until there is only one player remaining. So if two players are on the same team and they kill everybody else, they must fight each other to the death at the end. We're also playing on the map Sherwood Heroes, which means that every player actually starts with a Robin Hood hero and a Friar Tuck hero. These heroes cannot be converted, they regenerate HP over time, and they have substantially above average combat stats. Making sure you keep yours alive is going to be absolutely critical, and once again, Green trying to mitigate that economic discrepancy by converting villagers from Yellow, stealing all of Yellow's villagers. And he says you can take all the villagers you want. Glubot says, been a while since I've been able to watch the stream. The free-for-all commentary is so good. It's fast-paced and awesome. Well, I'm really glad to hear that, Glubot. I'm trying to mix it up, and it's always a pleasure to have you. So yes, welcome back, and thank you for the donation. Aha, so it appears that Red has also advanced to the Castle Age, and Giant Apple as well into the Castle Age. I haven't really been keeping track of alliances too much because basically we've just seen the same people slapping each other. If we go over to Yellow's perspective here, he is on the same team, so we have Yellow and Red and Teal and Purple on the same team. One of the reasons why I like that we have 7 players here is that it means that one team is always going to be larger than the other, and that imbalance is going to force players to fight. I wonder if the normal map size, being like one size smaller than the amount of players that we have, is enough to encourage people to fight each other, but so far so good. I like the heroes thing, it mixes it up a little bit. Ladiac says, who needs an eco when you can just take your opponents? Exactly. Right now, not too much in the realm of combat, so I'm assuming that besides the red, teal, and purple team, then the rest of these guys are on a team with each other. So let's go double check that. Back to Green's perspective. Actually, Green's only allied with Red, so that is really, really bizarre. Wait, so Green and Yellow are... See, this is why Friend or Foe Colors doesn't do anything here, is because Green and Yellow, who are fighting each other right now, both are allied with Red, who's across the entire map, and building a strong-looking defense here, also docking in one of these pawns. Oh, yes. Red having a good time, but I feel like these palisade walls aren't going to do anything. They're really just going to provide warning for the attack, and perhaps that's enough. Yellow is being so greedy here. He's really pulling ahead in the villager department. Like, we have 50 population to 44 isn't actually that far behind, but there are three cavalry units here, so that's something interesting to note, is that Yellow is just going to be pulling substantially further ahead in his economy, but he's lost a lot of villagers to conversion, a lot of villagers to harassment, and I think that actually he's going to need to make a military at some point soon, definitely. Xavier Tanka says, put on Fog of War and watch for cartography for allies. Oh, yeah, that's true. I could do it that way. I feel like that's buggy and broken in HD, but that's just a reoccurring trend. Oh, no! See, yeah, this is the thing. It's not every player has cartography yet. So, for example... Okay, Purple. Nice little defensive army here. Nice, nice, nice. But he appears to be on his own from a Fog of War perspective, but he's actually on the same team with Yellow and Gray. So people are going to be backstabbing each other nonstop. And speaking of backstabbing each other nonstop, it looks like our friend Trivial Error is going to be engaging with a bunch of knights. This actually might be the death of Robin Hood, and I would say that Green has definitely been getting a lot of value out of his Robin Hood, so while Teal engages here, he should finally be able to kill this. Green has his Robin Hood in a position where it's actually very difficult to get the surround on him, which is something that we see a lot of very experienced players in Age of Empires do. Well, they'll back their ranged units into, like, you know, a little area like this, which makes it very difficult for your opponent to actually surround them. So Teal's in here, gonna clean out all of those pesky, pesky green soldiers. Teal coming to the rescue for Yellow, actually gonna be a good ally, so I have to give some credit to Teal here. Tipke says, what strategy would you use if you were playing this game? Well, it's tricky in a free-for-all because generally the best strategy, unless you tinker with the settings, is going to be sitting in the corner and just playing with yourself. So I'm glad that the players are actually fighting each other. I think the smaller map size incentivizes that. I would probably have done an aggressive push early on with Friar Tuck and Robin Hood, so similar to what our green player did. So I would have tried to do an aggressive rush with that. Perhaps you could even do a drush backed up with that, but it's tricky because if you leave your own base, then Robin Hood and Friar Tuck are going to tear you a new one. So that would be really, really bad. But I would say that if you're close enough to one of your opponents, and then I I would probably have, Friar Tuck and Robin Hood rushed whoever was my closest opponent, and then I would have my scout patrolling the other side, my other flank, to try and see if the opposing Robin Hood and Friar Tuck were coming my way. And then I would just try and out-micro them. I think you could probably gain a really, really strong early game lead with clever use of Friar Tuck and Robin Hood, because neither of them can be converted. So if you, like, drush your opponent, for example, they can always just convert one of your militia, but if you're just attacking with Friar Tuck and Robin Hood, and you're having like Friar Tuck heal Robin Hood, then if you out-micro your opponent, you could really have a good start there. If you can take out the opponent's Robin Hood, snipe a lot of villagers, 11 attack is a lot in the early game. And then beyond that, I think I would have probably used Friar Tuck and Robin Hood to defend against any sort of early game aggression. I think that would allow me to safely fast Castle Age, so I like that the players in this game, some of them did go for fast Castle Age. I think you could probably pretty safely, and then something like Knights would be nice to take advantage of, Little King Marv, to take advantage of the incredibly large, I was going to say map size, but it's actually like rush distance. Like, the map size is actually a little bit smaller than normal, but still, you have to walk a fairly long way to actually get to your opponent, so I think mobility is important. So depending on your civ, perhaps Cavalry Archers is an option. Knights sound pretty good. You could always go for Crossmen for your flank. Hopefully that helps, Dipkey. Yeah, Zoofius, we're doing Sherwood Heroes today, and that means that every player starts with 2 hero units at the start, Robin Hood and Friar Tuck. So right now, we see yellow, red, and teal at the top of the standings. Gray not too far behind, and then the Dark Wolf rises, Flatch. So orange, green, and purple a little bit near the bottom. Green used to be our #1 player by far, but a lot of that was just map exploration. Everything went wrong, of course, as soon as Teal sent his knights over, but Teal's actually pulling out his knights, and I would like to know where these purple men-at-arms are going. Where are they going? Mr. Purple! We'll swap over to Zipline's perspective. It's going to be going straight for... yes, poor green getting ganged up on. Pete says, are those all forest trees or can they be cut? I believe they're all forest trees, yes. Yeah, I believe they're all forest trees. Well, it looks like Purple is going to be rushing with some men-at-arms. He's very, very strong. Okay, like he has a lot of upgrades on his men-at-arms. They're strong men-at-arms, but the thing is that this is such a small force, it's not going to really be able to do too much. I mean, I say that, but he'll be able to actually kill this barracks, so I guess that's a little bit of something. This isn't generally the type of army comp we would expect at this point in the game, because it's a little bit slow. Hello, Von Wingeningen. Von Wageningen. Thank you so much for the sub. Lacravat says, well, it looks like the donation widget's broken, so you won't see it, but I just gave you $5. Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, it didn't show up, but thank you, Lacravat, for your donation. Really appreciate it as well. Band GR says, do you think green's rush to yellow is worth it? That is a good question. Because, yeah, you're right. It is he was late to the Castle Age and is a free-for-all, so he has no allies to cover his ground. Well, I mean, I guess he does have allies, right? If we go to green's perspective, he has red as an ally. Which is a really weird ally to have strategically, considering that red's about as far away as humanly possible. I would expect players to make allies with whoever is, geographically close to them. I don't really see how green and red have anything to gain from this alliance, considering how far away from each other they are. I would say that green's rush was worthwhile, up to a point, and then maybe he should have pulled out. As soon as Teal came in here with some knights, I like the idea of it. It obviously wasn't worth it in the long run, but I think at first it was incredibly effective, and perhaps the forward was a little bit ambitious. Perhaps Robin Hood was a little bit too far forward and could have been pulled back, but I think the damage was good to a point, if that makes any sense. Hello, Ronaldo. Welcome to the stream. I mean, yeah, these men-at-arms are actually going to kill 2 buildings, so I guess that is definitely worth it. And the reason that we don't really see this type of, just a little bit of everything style play early on, where you get, elite skirmishers, you get pikemen, you get men-at-arms, you have a knight, is because early on, your economy is going to be so much smaller. So you're just not going to have the money to actually upgrade all of those units. Generally, if you are going to try and make a military early on, you want to keep them similar style units, that way you can double dip in your upgrades. Here, while this army is a lot harder to counter because there's a wider variety of units here, you have to get pikemen, you have to get elite skirmisher, you have to research men-at-arms, you have blacksmith upgrades for all of them. It's a nightmare. Take a really long time to get that army out. Meanwhile, you're not able to get a meaningful amount of each unit out, which means that just an army of knights will just destroy you once they have enough upgrades. Hello, Lirio Luna. Welcome to the stream. Steel, it's not too late to play some Age of Empires 2. In fact, if you'd like a copy of the game, I'd be happy to give you one. Ooh, so Rancor, our red Mayans player, is going to be dropping a castle on our teal Franks player over here. Now, in the later stages of the game, of course, this type of style of play that we see from purple Franks Zipline is a lot better once you have enough economy to actually, produce military units from each of these buildings, successfully get all the upgrades for them. You have a big enough economy that you'll be able to feasibly do that. It's just in the early game you'll generally see players focusing on one type of stuff. Hello Dominus, good to see you. Hello Jazzp as well. So we go to yellow's perspective. I know that yellow has allied with teal and purple, yes? Okay, so yeah, so teal is allied with yellow and gray. But if I go to yellow's perspective, he is allied with purple and teal and red. Okay, so see, yellow has like a very strategically, I like this. Like geographically, this alliance makes a lot of sense. Like it's just they're all on the same side of the map. It's a lot easier for them to defend each other, and getting double crossed isn't that big of a deal, I guess, because they can just dogpile on the guy. It's the Ferret says hello. Hello, it's the Ferret. Yes, what's your favorite Civ in Aoe2, and have you played Age of Mythology? I've played a lot of Age of Mythology, and I'll definitely do some content on Tail of the Dragon when it comes out. My favorite Civ in Aoe2 would either be the Britons or the Byzantines. It's a pretty close tie. Maybe I'm slightly favored for the Byzantines. I'd say I play the Britons a little bit more just because I feel like they're slightly stronger. And aha! Red, perhaps overstepping his bounds, going to move this castle a little bit further forward, but I would say he did a lot of damage there, and since Teal lost that ram, perhaps Teal overstepping his bounds now. Maybe Teal should retreat, because with murder holes, of course, Red will be able to clear out this army of knights over time, and I don't know if this is necessarily very efficient, so while Red lost all the villagers here, I think that Teal perhaps should just take in that victory. Red's just going to farm all these knights, and that's going to be devastating. That's going to be devastating. Once all those knights are dead to the castle, then Red's going to ungarrison his entire army, and just maybe even take Teal out of the game. That's a lot of plumed archers. Rancor on a rampage, and it looks like, well, Teal is going to try and send his knights in to do some raiding or something, but he's going to run straight into another castle, the wrong neighborhood, and as a result, well, all these knights are going down. Absolute disaster for Teal. Used to be one of the powerhouses in this game. Teal used to be able to use his large army of knights as a sort of bargaining point. He was, threatening green, protecting his allies, but now the shoe's on the other foot. Nothing to protect these rams. Good news for Teal, at least, is the plumed archers are terrible against rams, so he might be able to still apply some pressure. Hello, Dasso, welcome to the stream. Zufi says, I love your Break the Meta videos. Are you going to make more? Watch them all several times. I'm really glad to hear that you've been enjoying them. I think that's one of the better ideas I've ever had. It's just difficult for me to do content for that in the long run, because there's like a finite number of, I guess, interesting meta-breaking replays. I tried getting people to submit their replays to me, but no one submitted really any replays at all, so I'm not so sure. There's also, a lot of people disagreed on what Break the Meta actually, what actually constitutes Break the Meta, I guess. I tried to have a more broad definition, that way I could continue the series in the long term, but I don't know. It's a really, really cool series. I'm not sure how many more replays I actually have for it, but it's something that I would like to continue doing as long as I have content for. I hope, though, that beyond Break the Meta, just doing miscellaneous pro commentaries, I hope that people find them just as interesting, and I don't need to put the words Break the Meta in the title to make it actually just a good game. Because I do think that normal competitive AoE2 is actually just as interesting. So I hope that people are willing to give that a chance as well. Or I can do something that's just as good as Break the Meta. So, Linus says, what are Orange and Gray doing? Well, I'm flipping over here right now, and it looks like they're slapping each other silly. It looks like, right now, they're both, pretty even, but the forward castle is going to be really, really difficult to deal with for all those players who are in the Castle Age. So, while Gray is doing pretty well, in the Castle Age, battering rams are a reasonable answer to those castles, but you're going to need a lot of battering rams, definitely, and the battering rams can be taken down. You want a trebuchet as a way to deal with those castles at a much more efficient rate. And Purple on a rampage! He was worried before this game began. Purple's new to this game. He hasn't played that many online games. Right now, Purple, one of the powerhouses, working with his buddy Red to conquer Teal. And yeah, since Teal lost all of his knights to those castles full free, he's in a very, very bad position. Teal going to try and defend with some skirmishers. I like that he's building some unit counters. I think that this Robin Hood will die. I think unit counters here will be absolutely pivotal to pushing this back, but he's gonna have a lot of trouble transitioning to that. He doesn't really have the economy or the upgrades for it right now. And oh my god, this is something I was watching a little bit earlier, but Yellow has a disgusting amount of monasteries, and he's moving in for the mass conversions, but Green was not born yesterday. He's going to be spamming a lot of light cavalry, which will be one of the surefire ways to deal with this. And, well, it's actually not going to be enough. There are just not enough light cavalry here for Green. If Green can take out those battering rams, and he might be able to with the Magyar Hussars, which have an attack bonus versus siege weapons. It's difficult for me to watch everything at once, guys. I'm not a spider. That's so many monks. Oh my god. I can't believe this is actually paying off here for Yellow. Like, Yellow is so greedy. So greedy. He lost so many villagers. to Green's early game aggressive push, which worked out really well until, Teal came in here and completely swung the momentum, and perhaps Green overcommitting a little bit. Yellow booming up, not getting sufficiently punished for it, will be able to go to Monk City. And he's gonna wallow all over Green's economy. Oh my god, and it looks like he also has redemption, so rip all these barracks. Yellow moving in, he's going to convert everything in that base and get revenge for all those Friar Tuck conversions early game. Taking the economy and the base back. Meanwhile, Red coming in for the support. I believe Red and Green, our Christmas colors, are on the same team. What's up with these alliances? Makes no sense. Either way, Red coming in here. What? Wait, what's Red gonna do? Because Red's allied with both of these guys. Where is this army going? Is it going to Orange? If so, why? Because he's enemies with both of them. I don't know. I think he's actually just going to show some mercy on Teal. In the meantime, everything falling apart for Green. It's the Ferret says, any tips for a new player? I would recommend making sure that your town center is always creating villagers, researching technologies, or advancing to the next stage. Always doing something until you have at least 100. So that's the #1 priority, is making sure you minimize your town center idle time. Keep making villagers until you have at least 100. Everyone online plays on 200 or like 300 population, basically. So yeah, I'll have fun, practice versus the bot. I have my Residence Bot AI in the Steam Workshop. If you have HD, it's a great practice partner. And yeah, I would just say that make sure that your town center is always working. If you have no idea what techs to research, double bid acts and your economic upgrades are very high priority. And then beyond that, just research everything. Obviously, there are more efficient ways to do things, but there's no such thing as a bad technology in AoE. So, also, if you have no idea what units to build, at least build more than one type of unit. I would say you're going to at least need siege weapons with your army. If you make nothing but, for example, elite longbowmen, it's going to take a long time to actually get through a castle. So make sure you have some siege weapons with your army, and just have fun. I would say it's a great. Age of Empires 2 is a game that's best played, I think, with friends and just learning in an awesome community. And if you have any more specific questions, I'd be happy to answer them. I have a Steam group, of course, the official Residence 22 Steam group, and if you're looking for players to play with, some friendly people to ask questions to, and just learn the game with, then my Steam group is a great place to do that. Oh my god, I hope Yellow wins the game off just monks. But see, Yellow, of course, is smart, is backing up his army with, some siege rams, that way this doesn't take 38 years, and now Green's army being turned against him. The Magyar Hussars and the Hussars, I think the Magyar Hussars also resist conversion, and they have a attack bonus versus monks, but it's not good enough. They can still be converted. Really, Green just didn't have enough numbers, and Yellow was booming for so very long. Such a massive economy that he can actually sustain this level of production. Oh my goodness. Yellow actually had a solid 200 population right here, and poor Teal is actually getting wrecked by Purple. Purple with his little bit of everything strategy. I love that Purple is prioritizing his upgrades correctly. Defense upgrades first with the Blacksmith for your melee units, and the ranged upgrades for the ranged units, like the ranged and attack ones like fletching. Vald Orange says, can you make a monk convert automatically, or do you need to micro them? I think they automatically convert things that attack them, but you have to micro them. It's the Ferret says, I always get destroyed in the Castle Age by Night Rush, and pikemen don't last long. They always seem to make more knights than pikemen. I play with 1 or 3 other friends versus AI, and we can't beat anything past moderate. Well, you'll be happy to hear that the Resonance 22 custom AI Resonance bot does scale the difficulty up to tries to match the skill level of the opposing team. That way you get a fair game. Obviously, you still need to pick the difficulty settings, so I recommend playing like standard or moderate, and then it'll adjust for you. If you're having trouble with knights, again, like the military side of things will go a lot smoother for you once you master the economy. So focus a lot on making sure that you are making villagers non-stop. You're sustaining your villager production, very little to no town center idle time till you have at least 100 villagers, and then you're in the bag. You've got it. It will take practice. The default AI in Aoe2 HD is actually quite good, so there's no shame in losing to it. Wow, Red on an absolute rampage, and Green actually resigned, so Green out of the game. I did not expect this, as he was on top of the world early on, is actually going to be the first player eliminated. Meanwhile, it looks like Orange is perhaps going to be on the chopping block a little bit soon. The Teal as well might be the next person to die. Not able to beat this one of everything strategy, but the Mangonel will be a good counter unit here. I think Teal's just very, very far behind in population, and Red, an absolute monster. I think this game might boil down to Red and Yellow fighting each other in the end. Yellow says, Orange, I'm coming for you now. Uh-oh. Monk, I need a monk. Alright, Linus says, what's the best strategy for going for fast Imperial Age? Usually, if you're going for Fast Imperial Age, Linus, great question, by the way, it's usually to try and take advantage of something that you can only have access to in the Imperial Age, like our good Lord and Savior, Mr. Gunpowder. Fast Imperial Age strategy is most common on a civilization like the Turks, for example, or at least that's one of the ones that they're most known for, because the Turks get free chemistry, so once you get to the Imperial, they also get faster gold mining. So you can use the gold mining to like buy food at the market, for example, to advance a little bit faster. And with the free chemistry, you don't have to wait. Chemistry takes forever. So the moment you get to the Imperial Age, you can just start spamming hand cannoneers, which are much stronger for the Turks. They have extra HP, and yeah, you can start spamming bombard cannons. So usually that's what we see from a fast imp, is some sort of play involving the gunpowder units. The Mayans can actually do that too. So until they get nerfed, that's actually going to be something that's very, very strong for them. And then, yes, Teal down for the count. So Teal and Green are out of the game. Purple going to claim his first victim. Game Video says, what do you think of the Saracen's market bonus? I actually think it's quite strong. It's not as good as the other eco bonuses that we see in Age of Empires 2. In general, it's like very good in the late game, but it's not as strong early game. And that's why the Saracens aren't considered to be a powerhouse on open land maps that are difficult to defend, because you're not always going to have a market in the early game. Sometimes you just won't be able to afford to. And you can see that in like expert games where they tend to be very aggressive with things like scouts and whatnot, and players just don't generally get a market early enough to take advantage of it, but it is incredibly strong in the late game. The chat's moving too fast, so I will miss a couple people's messages. Red's base is A-okay. He's just doing all sorts of trading here. He's got a very, very well-defended base. I like all these castles positioned ever so nicely. I think Orange might be our next victim to the Monk Menace. I wonder what population Yellow is actually at. Let's swap to Gray's perspective here before he ends up kicking the bucket, but I do believe that Gray is out of the game. This is actually a very, very, very fast game, and it's going to boil down to, I think, a series of betrayals here. I think it's time for these players to start thinking in the long run.